Hey folks, John here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back once again to This World, My Take, where the headlines meets real life. It's always an honor to have you stop by and check out what we have to do, folks. I would like to beg on you to please think about being part of the family. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that whenever I drop something, you'll be the first to know to help us grow this platform. Let's not talk too much. Let's get into why we are here today. So folks, we are going to go to Africa today, and I want us to talk about the recent passing of former head of state in Nigeria. He goes by the name Muhammadu Buhari. His Excellency passed away in London at the age of 82. And if you know, this man served Nigeria as the president of Nigeria from 2015 all the way to 2023. That is a long time to be a president and not secure certain things. Now, that being said, my heart goes out to the people of Nigeria. My heart goes out to his family. And my heart goes out to everybody who loved this man so dearly. Death is death. But at the age of 82 in Africa, we do not cry. We do not mourn. We just celebrate a fully lived life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that being said, I wanted to talk about something. Remember I said he died in London, and this has to be a problem for everybody from that continent. Africa is a beautiful continent, rich in all sorts of natural resources. Africa is the bedrock for everything around the world. Every company, every mineral that you want, it is found in Africa in abundance. That being said, let's come back to Nigeria. How do you, ladies and gentlemen, serve as the president of Nigeria? One of the oil-rich countries, it's OPEC. This is Nigeria we are talking about. One of the biggest and the largest and the richest in terms of resources and everything in Africa. How do you die in London? Now, you were the president. This man was the president for 8 years in Nigeria. And we remember that he was a couple of years ago, decades ago, this man actually orchestrated a coup in the 80s. And so technically speaking, this man has been in position of leadership in Nigeria for 3 terms. Now, let me say this. You live as a president. You work as a president. You serve the people as a president in your own country. You do not think that is necessary to build hospitals that can actually handle certain things. Nelson Mandela died in South Africa. Respect to him. But you see what is happening in Africa today. There are people who come into power and they do not actually come into power to serve the interests of the African people. They come into power to serve their own personal interests and the interests of their colonial masters. Now, if you've read the history, African history, you will see that Nigeria's colonial master is actually Britain. Yes, Britain has a whole lot of colonies in Africa that they, conquered, and all of the European countries actually, they have countries and colonies in Africa that they were put under their control. Now, let me say this. If you die in London, there are other African presidents who, when they get sick, they rush to Europe to get treatments. They rush out of Africa to get treatments. Some of these leaders have been in power for so long. I don't want to talk about the man in Cameroon. Yes, there's another case in Cameroon, an advanced aged man who is still trying to run for another term, which is crazy. Why do African political elites think that the best place or the best thing to do whenever they get into power and they get access to resources that they can actually build some of these healthcare infrastructures, they decide to embezzle and keep that money for themselves? And what happens is when they get sick, they are out there flying to different countries to receive treatments. Whereas you could actually build some of these infrastructures in your own countries and have doctors from around the world come and work in these various countries. He died in London. I bet you that if you go to London, there are so many medical staffs or medical doctors that came from different parts of the world and they are working in London. If you go to America, to different parts of America, there are medical centers where you have doctors from different parts of the world who came to America to study, and they did their residency and they are working. Africa, we can do the same. You can build hospitals in Africa that would make people from different parts of the world come and study and work in those hospitals. But no, ladies and gentlemen, it is like we are cursed in the continent of Africa with some of these political elites who only come there to steal and reap where they did not sow. And when I say this, it hurts my heart that all of these things are happening. Yes, the man is dead. He died in London. But the fact that he died in London is not something that should be celebrated. Nigeria has everything to have the top and the best medical infrastructures in Africa, serving the whole of Central Africa. But what happens today is some of these people decide that, no, you know what? I'm the president. I'm not going to build none of these things. I'm going to fly abroad so that whenever I fly abroad, I can use that as a pretext to embezzle more money. Only God knows how much from the state coffers this man actually went to London to trade himself for. Let me say this. This is not the first time. When this man was alive and serving as president, he spent almost half of his tenure out there in London getting treatment. Now, we don't know what he was sick of, but we do know that at certain age, the human body breaks down. And when you are in a certain position, the stress, the headaches, it accumulates to a whole lot of things. I will say this, man. Once again, my heart goes out to the Nigerian people and to this man's family. But the fact that he died in London is a big disgrace for that country. Nigeria is a country that is supposed to lead the light for all African countries. I say all African countries because in terms of population, resources, and oil, Nigeria is supposed to be way, way ahead of some of the countries with higher GDPs in Africa today. But because we know that corruption roams wild around many African countries, because I'm not just going to talk about Nigeria. Corruption roams wild around African countries today. Some of these political elites, they do not serve the purpose of the people. And why is it that old people try to stay in power around Africa? What is really happening? You go to Uganda, the same thing. You go to Cameroon, the same thing. In Nigeria, it is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. While we appreciate and we mourn that this man is gone, may his soul rest in perfect peace, we need to call on the presidents that are alive today that have not done the needful. Build medical infrastructures in your countries so that you will not have to rush left helter-skelter to get treatment. May his soul rest in peace. You know what? This world is complicated and we're going to keep talking about it. Stay blessed, folks.